Hello friends, welcome to iExamB. I'm Satakshi and I'm your English faculty at iExamB. And in this video, we will discuss one reading comprehension. This, friends, is our Perfecting QRE series, and we have introduced this series with the aim of providing you with knowledge on the types of QRE questions that come in the RBI Grade B exam and how to solve them. The topics you see on your screen will be discussed in the month of May. In English, we will discuss reading comprehension. This is reading comprehension part 2. I have taken this editorial from The Hindu. You can hone your reading and comprehending skills by reading editorial from any newspaper or even the NCERT chapters. This editorial was published in The Hindu on 7th of April 2024. Now this passage is about the solar panels and discussed things around this. Now we can also see, we have discussed that this editorial has been discussed in part 1 along with 2 questions. So for the explanation of this article, you may refer to reading comprehension part 1. Also friends, I'm repeating here in this video as well. I have reduced the length of the original article to maintain congruency with the articles that come in the exam with respect to length, right? So this is the article, and if you haven't watched part 1, you may also read it here and try to understand this. Right now, let's move to the questions. This was the question. We have already discussed this particular question in part 1, so you can watch part 1 to understand its explanation. This also has been discussed in part 1, so you may first try answering it on your own and then visit part 1 for the explanation. Right now, fresh set, question number 3. This one says, what is the primary purpose of the approved models and manufacturers of solar photovoltaic modules order 2019? Right? A says to authenticate solar module manufacturers. Now we know from the passage that manufacturers should actually be manufacturing the solar modules, not just importing and assembling them, right? So A is correct, right? Also, this check is necessary because India has become heavily dependent on imports from China. Hence, these should be reduced, right? So B is also correct, right? But nowhere in the passage it has been mentioned about promoting the use of solar energy in urban areas specifically. So this is wrong. Also, nothing about the safety issues has been mentioned. So D is also not correct, right? So our answer here is option A and B, right? Now, fourth says, why has the approved models and the manufacturers AMM list has been crucial for manufacturers in India, right? So here we have to tell the advantages for the manufacturers of being in the AMM list. All right. Now this is the extract from the passage, and from the first sentence we know that A is correct, right? And from the rest of the sentences we know that here D is correct. All right. And nothing about the reduced production cost has been said, so this is wrong. And nothing about direct sales to the European markets has been said, right? So this is also wrong. Our correct answer here is option 2, A and D. All right. Now this is the fifth question. Now before solving this particular question, I want to first give you a fair idea of the types of questions you can expect based on reading comprehension. So we have seen some information based questions where the answers can directly be found out from the passage. Even in information based questions, there are categories where sometimes you can get all the required information in one place, or the information may either be scattered, or you may need to check the veracity or truthfulness of multiple statements, or you may either have to check for the truthfulness of only one statement, right? Out of all these types, make sure that you attempt those questions first where you need to check for the truthfulness of less number of statements, right? Because that will take less time, obviously, right? So questions like these, the one on your screen, must be attempted in the end after solving all the other RC based questions, right? First solve vocabulary based questions, if any, if there are any. Then maybe if you have any usual pattern or grammar based questions, solve those. I'll shortly show you both these patterns, the vocab and the grammar or pattern based questions, right? So after solving all these two kinds of questions, solve those where truthfulness of one statement needs to be verified, and in the end those where truthfulness of many statements needs to be verified, like this one, right? Now let me show you the other two patterns. Now if they wish to test you on question patterns, then the word exchange, if the pattern may be of word exchange, fillers, or error detection based question, they may introduce this in the RC itself. Like suppose if in our passage the original sentence here, this is the original one, if this had been tweaked like this, so the passage would have looked something like this to you, and the questions would have been asked like this, right? So here the question says, in the sentence marked 1, 4 words have been highlighted and labeled as A, B, C and D. The positions of these words may have been exchanged. Find the correct pair that needs to be exchanged in order to form a coherent and meaningful sentence, right? So we know that in the place of A should come a word that modifies this, all right? So it should be an adjective. Indigenousness is a noun, so it is not a correct fit, right? It definitely needs to be exchanged. Necessary is an adjective, and if we exchange A and B, our sentence will become, this became necessary because India's solar industry, its claim of indigenousness notwithstanding, is heavily reliant on imports of cheaper and comparable quality solar modules from China. Now the sentence makes complete sense, so we'll mark option 1, A, B as our answer. All right. Now, friends, these and other kinds of similar questions we discuss in our daily classes also every Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 12:30 a.m. Now friends, vocabulary based questions can be something like this. Choose the appropriate word from the words given below, which is similar in meaning to the word legitimate as used in the passage. Okay, so we know that legitimate means lawful, justified or proper, right? So here valid is the correct answer. Frequent means often, and this is not related to legitimate. Hazardous is dangerous, again not similar in meaning. Tangible means concrete. Sparse means scattered, right? So here 1 is the correct answer. Okay, so now moving back to what we were talking about initially, first always solve these kind of vocabulary based questions, all right? Then solve these kind of questions, then these single statement based questions, then title and direct information based questions, and in the end such questions where veracity of multiple statements needs to be checked. Now let's solve this. Here the question says which of the following statements are definitely true based on the information given in the passage, right? A says Indian solar assemblers benefited economically from reduced Chinese exports to the US and Europe, right? Now we know the passage says something like this, which means that yes, manufacturers may have benefited, right? But in part A, they are talking about assemblers, not manufacturers, right? Which we cannot say is definitely true, right? So A cannot be the answer, all right? B says the existing dependency on imports of solar modules by Indian companies can be quickly reversed, right? Here in the passage, it has been said that achieving self-reliance will take time. Hence, B also cannot be the answer, right? Here, C says the Indian government hopes that this year onwards, manufacturing capacity of solar modules will grow substantially. Now, here in the passage, they have said that the government has claimed that there will be significant rise in the manufacturing capacity. This is correct. So, C is the answer, right? Here the answer will be only C. Okay. So, this completes our reading comprehension, friends. We'll connect again on the English weekend on our channel Target RBI for discussion of another topic in depth to help you perfect QRE. To get all preparation content on your fingertips, download our app now.